Hello and welcome to another episode of Talkin Rangers. Today is Tuesday, July 8th. This is episode 68 of the Talkin Rangers podcast. Thank you, as always, for joining us, tuning in on YouTube. Make sure to please like and subscribe. Appreciate the support. Another week down in the offseason, now about a week removed from NHL free agency. Rangers went out and made a couple moves. Of course, we were live last week discussing a couple of those, the biggest being the Gavrikov signing. New defense pair for Adam Fox. Since then, you've got the official completion of the K'Andre Miller trade, couple other signings. Will Cooley returns, so that's a good thing. Right after we hopped off the live stream, the Cooley news came out, so no need to worry anymore there from a Rangers perspective. But Joe, just breaking it all down today. How's it going, man?
It's good. Everything kind of cooled off after Monday. Really nothing on after that, but or Tuesday, sorry. But see what happens. I don't know if I would say I'm hoping there'd be more, but I guess financially with the cap wise, maybe it's a little tough for them to do anything. But at the same time, you kind of want to see a little bit more out of Drury. But thought he did pretty good. Obviously you got Gavrikov, a pretty good contract, and then Cooley. I was hoping they'd extend it for more than just the 2 years, but I guess we'll see what happens with that. And then obviously the K'Andre Miller was a pretty big move. We were pretty both happy about that. I mean, he's pretty polarizing a player, and a lot of people, have opinions on him where, I feel like most of the people were kind of more down on him than up, but it's kind of good to see that they both kind of get a fresh start. The Rangers get a lot in return. You get the first, the second, and Scott Morrow, and then obviously, Miller goes to the Hurricane. So I'm hoping that, like I said, maybe there's at least one more move. Maybe we can get rid of Carson Soucy, but we'll see what happens. But like I said, Drury had a good start.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was a solid free agency period up to this point so far. And even good just going back to the Kreider trade, right? They make that move. We all knew that was coming. They do that. They move on there, shake up the core a bit. You move on from Miller. Another move that most Rangers fans were on board with. I guess a couple wanted him back. I don't. We've gone through the K'Andre Miller story 1,000 times. I don't really know what some Rangers fans saw in him to keep him, especially when you look at the contract he got in Carolina. It's ridiculous. 8 years, $60 million, 7.5 is just crazy for the way he's played the last couple seasons. So we'll see what happens. Rangers, of course, faced him a couple times. Who knows? Maybe they cross paths in the playoffs if both teams get there. The Rangers being the real question there. But yeah, to get a couple picks, Scott Morrow, I actually just doing some more research on him. Intriguing young player, young defenseman for this team that could potentially develop into something. Showed some offensive upside last year. In the 14 games he played regular season wise with Carolina, he hit 6 points in those 14 games. Only 22 years old. He'll be 21 and 23 November. So essentially entering his age 23 season, but only 16 games under his belt in his career. So young player. We'll see what happens developmental wise. And then Cooley, agree, only 2 years, a little shorter, 7.8, 3.9 AAV, but just happy it got done. It was kind of not crazy. It wasn't panic, but it was, as the days went on there, you were kind of wondering, especially first day of free agency, we were talking about on the live stream, what would happen with that. So you lock him up, one of your top young players. I guess just overall, how do you view this roster? I guess just kind of break down where we're at right now with this roster, go through some lines. They added Taylor Radish as well, another piece to this team, bottom 6 player, 80 games last year with Washington, 27.7 goals, 20 assists. How much just roster evaluation as a whole, where does this team you feel stand just in terms of overall improvement, what they still need to do, what, both of us agree, I think another move would be nice, what they've already done, just your thoughts on that.
I don't really know how much more they could really do as far as kind of saying before with the cap and stuff, but I think they did a good job of, especially getting Gavrikov to play with Fox, but I don't know. I feel like it's gone to a point where you don't really know. Like it's a unknown. Like this team could kind of be closer to what they were last year, where they're middle pack, fringe playoff team. Not going to be one of the better teams, but probably not going to be one of the worst. But at the same time, probably not going to be a playoff team. Um, who knows? Maybe they could kind of go back to what they were in 23, 24, where obviously they're never going to be that good, this core, but maybe they finish second in Metro. Maybe, people have bounce back years, but I think it's too much. I kind of flip it on the other side where I kind of think it's now more the forward core is more of a question mark than the defense core. I mean, you have a couple, pieces on the core, on the defense core where you can kind of build on, like Fox, obviously, hopefully comes back healthy. Gavrikov, obviously the big free agent signing. So you have those two guys, and then Borgen coming back, who was solid last year, but is he a top four defenseman? I don't know. We'll see. The rumor is they're going to move Schneider to the left side, so maybe that helps him getting more playing time, but I don't know, maybe he won't adjust to it. But then you have kind of those four guys where you can kind of rely on them for the most part. I don't know about like a contending Stanley Cup team defense pair, but that's pretty solid. And then I guess the third pairing is, it is what it is. I mean, I'm not really a big fan, obviously, of Carson Soucy, but I mean, Vakanainen and Morrow, I guess, will kind of sub in there, but you kind of have that. But I feel like at the most part, it's a little bit easier to kind of have an understanding of what they're going to do defensively to oppose your top 9, top 6 guys. What are they going to do offensively? Where, at least they have Igor. So if they make a couple of mishaps a game, you have Igor there, where offensively, like, Igor can't help that. So, and you have a lot of guys that are question marks, like Lafreniere, Zibanejad, even Panarin. What is he going to be? Is he going to start declining? We don't really know what Cooley Foley's going to be. I think Miller should be better, but Trocheck had a down year. And then you get into a glaring, like, no man's land of, like, is this guy an NHL player? Is he a top 9 forward? Like Offman, Berard, Perot, a lot of these guys don't know what they are, and it just they don't know where they're going to get their 5-and-5 scoring depth from. So I would have liked them to go out and get a forward to play in the top 9. I know that Radish can, but I don't know if is he really a top 9 forward, maybe, but we'll see what happens. I kind of like I do like what they did with obviously the defense. Like I kind of agree where I think Morrow could have potential. Seems like he's a good skater, which is a good a good start there. But I don't know. I'm a little concerned about the forward core. I don't know. How about you?
Yeah, there's a lot of just, I guess, names, but not really understanding where they all will slide in. I agree with the Radish signing. I think it's a solid move. Still pretty much on the younger side. I mean, he's only been in the league for 4 years. Spent part of his first year with Chicago, Tampa, and then 2 more years with Chicago, and then last year with Washington. He was in the playoffs with them. I think he probably slots in probably 4th line with Edstrom, Rempe, whatever, and
I got
then
a feeling.
Carrick and
I got a feeling he's going to play the
Radish.
third line. I don't know.
Third, he could. And then you still have Berard that would need to slot in. Right, you have questions about the Mika. What is he? What is Panarin? I mean, how you have a question about? I'm sure we'll get into Panarin more, but is Panarin even going to last the full year here? Is that somebody that do they deal him at the deadline potentially, which would throw a wrench into things? Where does Perot slot in? Yeah, I mean
Dude, I can't see them. I can't see them extending Panarin. It just makes no sense.
No, I don't think they will. To be honest, I think Panarin will have his normal Panarin season, but will that whole year be with the Rangers? Well, I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know if they would deal him. Who knows? That's conversations that are more to be had in January, February, and closer to the deadline in early March. We talked about this last week, right? Trocheck, even though he had a little bit of a down year last year, he's a guy that I think's gained enough trust to believe that he'll bounce back. JT Miller, 2 guys, you believe him? I think we both do. And I know you still want to maybe see Cooley continue to do it, but because he's still so young. But I think we understand what Cooley is at this point for the most part.
Yeah.
Those are three guys that you fully trust. In terms of Lafreniere, you don't know. Mika, you don't know. Perot is just young. So just that in itself. Not that he's played bad or good. I mean, he played barely last year and they were healthy. And he was all of a sudden out of the lineup when the team had nothing to play for, which was ridiculous. But you just don't know because he's young. You still really don't know about Othman. We'll see what happens there. He's another name to throw into this mix. Is he somebody that is, your third line with, I don't know, do you put Othman and Berard together as your left and right wing on a third line? Is Mika third line center? Is Mika wing? Like that's all you kind of throw that into it. But so you still have Othman and Berard who are questions. What do you get out of them? I like Berard personally. I think his play style fits kind of what the Rangers need. He is a little bit smaller. We'll see what all happens. Brzezinski's another one. You have Parson who's still young. There's so many pieces, and there's really probably, and this is why I do agree with the defense core, like Gavrikov, Fox, no doubt your number one group there. You finally get a left hand, hopefully a trustworthy lefty next to Fox, your big free agent signing. And then your second pair is, probably Schneider from the left side, who in his limited games from the left side that we saw last year, he was okay. And then Borgen, who was all right. And then, it's Susi, some combination of Vakanainen, Morrow, however you want to, play that out. But forward, it's feels like three, what you're going to get out of Trocheck, Miller, and Cooley. And then the rest is, and I guess what you're going to get out of Edström and Rempe and Carrick to a lesser extent. And then the rest is, there's what's Othman, what's Berard, what are you going to get at Pro this year? Is Lafreniere going to bounce back? Is Lafreniere even a future piece for this team, even after the contract, because he was so bad? Like, is he somebody that's here long term? Mika, I don't know. I think Mika is just at this point in his career is just in the regression phase, but is Sullivan able to get more out of Mika? So how many games of Brzezinski are we going to get? Which
probably a lot.
Probably, but realistically, a playoff team, Brzezinski shouldn't be out there 50 times in a season, which he has been the last 2 years. It's interesting. Parsons, another one who you, of course, acquired midway through last year. Still young. So it's a lot of unprovens. I guess you could look at it glass half full and say if some of this young talent works out, you have something, but you don't have a ton of faith in most of the veterans, and you don't know much about the young guys, if that makes sense, right? That's what it feels like. So it's interesting.
I guess the only thing you kind of really have, which you can even argue that it's still a little bit of a question mark, just because he hasn't been as good as he was in that initial breakout year for Igor, where it's Igor and quicker in net. So I guess you kind of have that as something you don't really even need to think about, but I'd say, besides that, everything else, a little less on the defensive side, but you kind of have to, game to game, you don't really know what it's going to be. You don't know what your lines are going to be. You don't know who's going to be performing to what level. So,
And you have questions, you wonder too, what is Sullivan's philosophy going to be? Right, these last couple coaches, it's been a lot of prioritizing the veterans. You hope, and it should be the case, that Sullivan lets these young guys play, gives them a lot of runway, especially in a year like this where you're not going to go contend for a Stanley Cup. See what you have in these young pieces. 100% too on a guy like Othman, who at this point it's kind of make or break with him a bit. If he's got to prove himself. He's got to go out there and number one play. If he's going to be in the lineup though, he's got to produce. It's getting to the point with Othman where there's an expiration date on these guys.
I'd say this about those three younger forwards that are pretty unproven. I don't think all three of them are going to be on the team, like Berard, Othman, Perot. I can see one of them being in Hartford, which
probably be.
Yes, I kind of hope it's Perot, just because they got to really see what they have at Othman and Berard, because their clocks are ticking more than Perot's.
Yeah,
but at the same time, you kind of want to give Perot a chance to see if he can play right away. I don't know.
Yeah, and also you already burned a year of pro ZLC.
That's true too.
You want
Yeah.
to see what, like, at some point he's going to have to play consistently here, and you're going to have to see him produce it consistently at some point, or go go through the ebbs and flows up at the NHL level. But yeah, I mean, I do agree to this extent of, if you would to start one of them earlier in the season down, it would probably be Pro as opposed to Broad or Othman, especially Othman, because the clock's ticking, and if they don't prove anything this year, you're kind of just I don't know, kind of just move on from them being long-term pieces here. I mean, Pro, it's crazy. Pro only played 5 games last year. Like, they really brought him up for 5 games. It's ridiculous.
It's the Rangers.
Yep. I mean, part of that, I'm sure, was him wanting to come up, but you burn the year of the ALC for 5 games. I still, and he was taken out or scratched for a couple of those as well. He probably should have had closer. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but yeah, he missed some of those games as well for no reason other than Peter Laviolette's fantastic coaching.
You think
Yeah,
here's a question for you. If any of them do, I mean, I don't think they will, but you never know. Who will get another head coaching job more likely, Gallant or Laviolette?
probably Laviolette. Just because
Yeah,
I mean, he's coached for just about everybody at this point.
that's true.
Why not somebody else? I think probably him, probably Laviolette. They won the President's Trophy. I would probably say him. And the fact that the Rangers hired him in the first place, it'd kind of be a similar situation. Like, prior to the Rangers, it was the Islanders, Hurricanes, Flyers,
Predators.
Preds, and the Capitals, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because all those teams, say Isles, Hurricanes, those teams in the Metro, of course, on top of the Rangers. He still hasn't won a cup since, the Carolina. But yeah, I mean, I would probably say him over Gallant. Also, the fact that Gallant's been out of the league now for 2 years and he still hasn't gotten a job. You feel like if he was going to get a job, he would have gotten one already. Maybe, right?
Who knows? I don't know. Just think it's, I mean, hey, listen. David Quinn's back. So you know what that means. Mika's back.
It's crazy. David Quinn got a job before both of them. Well,
David Quinn had a job last year.
Yeah, and he got a job quicker than. Yeah,
he got a job. He also got a job right when he was fired. He got the job with the Sharks.
Yeah, that was right away. Yeah, so if he got a job quicker, then maybe, I don't know, maybe Laviolette would, but I don't know what team. I don't even know what team would want him or take him. But if the team wants an old retread, Gallant or Laviolette's your guy. But maybe the Rangers would be the last. Realistically, it'd probably be the Rangers, the last team to take one of those coaches and learn the hard way.
Jesus Christ. Freaking Rangers.
But yeah, I hope Panarin is back. David Quinn. It's the David Quinn effect. I hope that's the case. We'll see. Out of Perreault, Othman, and Berard, I mean, this might be obvious. I probably would be Perreault, I guess, but who would be most productive, or who is the best chance? Probably be Perreault because he's the highest.
I'm actually gonna say Berard because he has more professional experience. Like, he played a lot of years in the AHL, played more games in the NHL, older. I mean, obviously he's not big by any stretch of but like I assume he's bigger physically than Perreault, so I think he's a better skater than Perreault. So I would say Berard.
Yeah, I think we had this. Actually, I could see that. I like Berard a lot. I think we talked about this last week or 2 weeks ago, or I think it was last episode. Just the way he plays, drives to the net, drives the play. Good skater, like you mentioned. Is smaller, but I mean, he did some good things while he was out there last year. 10 points in the 35 games he played, which is good experience for him. Yeah, I mean, most likely pro probably won't work out because that's just the Rangers' way recently.
Yeah, he'll be a
When
bust.
the top most talked about prospect doesn't work. Othman, I don't know. I think I don't really know. I don't have high expectations.
Me either. I don't think he's going to be good. I think he's going to be like a fourth line player.
Yeah,
That's
I
my
think that
prediction.
I agree.
I don't even know if he's
Parsonen,
good enough skater to play in the fourth line though, because he's not very fast. So he struggles to get in the forecheck. And you kind of want your fourth line guys skating
yeah,
hard, getting in the forecheck, but who knows? Maybe he improves over the summer.
yeah. We'll see, and we'll see, of course, what happens regular season wise with those guys and training camp and all that stuff. Um, any other thing with the roster? I mean,
Well, I guess we kind of didn't. We can go in more detail of like the Miller trade. We got to.
yeah,
I guess we can give props to Drury. I mean, I can't
yeah,
believe we got that much for Keandre Miller.
I agree. I totally agree with that. Mentioned that a little bit in the open with the Miller trade. The fact that they got young player in Scott Morrow, and 2 conditional picks, and
Dude,
then
you
Carolina
cannot.
gives him that
You
contract.
you gotta practice these names, dude.
Scott Morrow, yeah, I know. I
I,
botched that
I
one.
think for the 2 years that we've done this, I think like it's like a
That was only the first
50-50
name
hit
bug.
rate of
So
getting the guy's name right or not.
yeah, I'm like, still
There was
probably
one
better.
really bad at like last year, the year before. I forgot.
Yeah, it
There's
was
been a couple that have been bad, but
yeah.
but yeah. Anyway, though, sorry.
Morrow's not a bad, not a hard one to screw
Yeah,
up
yeah,
though.
okay. That one's not too off. Like,
Um, but no, the fact that they were able to get young defenseman, skates well, offensive upside. Um, just looking back at some of his highlights and
Johnny
doing
Lazarus
some
likes him.
reading up on him.
He's a UMass
What do you
guy.
say?
I said Lazarus likes him. He's a UMass guy.
Yes, he is. And then the Miller contract was just ridiculous to me.
But what was it? 8.75.
Yeah, 60 over 8, 7.5 AV. That's
8 years
just
is
ridiculous.
ridiculous.
That money's ridiculous too, in my opinion. Like he is
He's
not
not
worth that
good.
at all.
Like, I'm
It's
sorry.
funny,
Like, the Hurricanes are like very stupid for making that contract.
and I saw this post earlier today. You might have saw it as well. It was an Instagram post, but I saw it was like screenshot on Twitter. Um, I it was some Carolina Hurricane fan page, whatever, that they were doing like the Keandre Miller scouting report, and it's like Miller's good back checker, all this stuff. I'm like, you have not watched a single Rangers game if that's your takeaway from the Keandre Miller. Keandre, if that's your takeaway from the Keandre Miller signing, you have not watched him at all.
No.
So, Carolina Hurricanes fans, I don't know if they quite know what they're in for with Miller, but yeah, it's a good trade for Drury getting back what they got back. I didn't think necessarily they would get a player back, but they
I
did, which is a
kind of like the first
positive.
and the second too.
Yeah. Yeah, the 2 picks definitely. We were talking about that last week about what he would probably go for in the range. So first and second's definitely good. And it's just moving on from a player that wasn't going to work here, wasn't working here, to get anything back for the type of guy, for a guy like that is a positive from Drury's perspective. Um, and it's almost in a way too with just the defense core in a way, and Miller, it's almost like addition by subtraction. Um, he was a clear liability out there. You move on from him and you change a bit in this D core, and you see what you have out of Morrow here in the future, how he develops. Is I think a positive as well. But yeah, I just can't get over that contract. I think that was just ridiculous. But
Yeah, I mean, they definitely dodged a bullet on that. Like I said,
yeah,
Drury did a good job there.
yeah. What was your thoughts on the? Well, we kind of already talked about it, but any other signings stick out to you? We talked about Radish. They obviously added Dowling, was just more of
They
a
had like a couple like AHL guys like
yeah,
Dowling, that guy Derek Pouliot.
Pouliot. Yep.
Shout out Benoit Pouliot, Rangers legend.
Yes, they got
You know who that is?
Sammy Blay went to.
Do you
Was
know
it?
who Benoit Pouliot is?
Yes, I have heard of him.
Legend. He was played with Brassard and Zuccarello on the team that went to the finals. 1 year
Yes.
wonder.
Sammy Blay, Rangers legend, went to
Another
Montreal.
Rangers legend. Yep.
Let's see. I'm looking just through some other free agent signings.
Zach Jones went to the Sabres. I saw that.
Yes, Lindgren, I believe, went to the Kraken, although I think we talked about that on the live stream last week.
Maybe, but yeah, that was too much money for him. That was
Yeah,
crazy
I think it was $4.5 million.
for a guy that can't even skate anymore.
Tony DeAngelo was with the Isles. We talked about that one. That's it. That's the former Ranger legends. I think. Zach Jones, you just mentioned.
What's like your meter of like 1 to 10, 10 being like definitely going to happen, 1 being it's not going to happen? A
Mika
Panarin trade
Oh,
before the season, a Panarin trade during the season, and then just a Panarin trade in general.
Before the season, low. Probably like a 1. I don't see it happening. I don't think the Rangers. I think the Rangers' 2 big trades were Miller and Kreider. In terms of during the season, probably a bit higher, but I still don't think it'll happen. I'd probably go like
you think
a
they're
3.
Gonna you think they're going to let him walk for nothing? I don't think they're going to resign him.
I don't think they'll resign him. I don't know if they're going to trade him. I think they're going to be a middle of a pack team that's
going to
going
be like
to
fighting for a spot. So I guess
fighting for a
they're not
spot
going to
and
be good
kind of
enough
stay
where like,
put and
okay,
roll
let's
with it.
keep him for a run, and they're not going to be bad
Yeah.
enough where it's like we got to unload. So
Yeah,
kind of the worst.
they're going to be middle of the pack. I could see this team making the playoffs. I could see this team being a little bit better than they were last year and being a
the Metro
first-round
division is so bad. So there's a chance to finish in the top 3.
Yeah. So I would probably go 3 regular season, 3.5, and then just in general low. I mean, I did a 1 and a 3, so 2 if I had to take the average there. I don't think they'll trade him.
I mean, there's a better chance he gets traded than like Mika because
100%.
Yeah,
and Mika just with his no move, he won't waive it. Panarin, yeah, definitely. And it just from the Rangers' logic, I guess it would make more sense to move on for Panarin because you'd get something if you're not re-signing him. Mika, you still have under contract with them, no move, so it's either sides. There's no rush to move on from him. But yeah, it's.
Do you think they're able to get off of Susie, or if you had to guess, he'd be on the opening night team?
He's probably going to be on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
Is he somebody maybe that I could see halfway through the year if I don't know, Vakanainen's playing well, Morrow's playing well, or developing at least, or finding a role on that team? Could Susie kind of just be an extra at that point? Maybe like Susie starts the year as your third pair D, but by the middle of the season, he is more of your extra D man. I could see that being a case. I could see that being a possibility, but I don't think they'll deal him before the season. I'd be happy about that, but I don't.
They're gonna have cap space though. They'll have cap space next year. I mean,
yeah.
Obviously, Susie's coming off, Panarin's coming off, so that's like $15 million right there.
Mm-hmm. Brzezinski.
Yeah, a lot of money coming off there.
Yeah, what is like 780,000? I think it is, or something like that. Although how much he plays, you think more would be coming off. But
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think Susie will get traded.
Yeah, I don't really feel too happy about the whole Schneider moving over, but
yeah,
at the same time, I guess they're giving him a chance to play more minutes, which probably is the right move. So,
remember Calvin DeHaan?
Yeah,
what a guy!
That guy made sure he'd never play for the Rangers again.
Yeah,
I liked it though. I liked how he had a fucking set of balls on him and just called out the organization.
I did like that.
Someone had to do it. I mean, Kako kind of did it too, and they shipped him off.
Yeah, it's crazy. And Zach Jones.
No, they didn't ship him off. They
didn't ship him off. Yeah, but they just didn't bring him back.
Yeah. Well, I guess the same thing with DeHaan. They didn't trade him either.
Yeah, just not that they would. Even if he didn't say anything, I don't know if they'd even bring DeHaan back.
Probably not. I mean, they weren't even playing him.
No. That's ridiculous. He goes cross country to play 3 games. That's ridiculous.
I could see why he was mad, but at the same time, he's like seventh defenseman on most teams.
No, yeah, he's not good, but it's funny. Matthew Robertson's another name to throw in the D mix as well.
I thought he looked pretty
That
good actually in the games that he
yeah,
played last year.
in terms of
Short sample
the
size,
point
but
of Susie, he could be somebody on that final third D pair that steps up as the year goes on. So
yeah, I thought he looked
somebody
good.
else to watch. Yeah.
Like I said, I thought he looked pretty good.
And what, he'll be an RFA. He's got 2 years left and an RFA, I think 27, 28, I believe, for Robertson. Vakanainen still got 2 years. Borgen will be here for a while.
Yeah,
Obviously,
just fine.
Gavrikov and Fox. And then Schneider will be an RFA next year.
I don't know. It's a weird spot for the team, you know. Hopefully, best case scenario. I know it sounds really sad, like pessimistic, but like we tank, we're bad. We trade a bunch of guys that like we get like we're able to get rid of. I mean, I guess like Susie doesn't matter. I feel like if you're gonna make a move for an impact for him, you're gonna move him in the offseason. If not, it doesn't matter because they're not getting anything for him at the deadline. You make it like a 7th-round pick, but Panarin, you can get hopefully maybe 2 ones for if you're trading him with an extension. If you're trading not with an extension, you probably get a 1st-round pick and like a mid to high tier level prospect. So I don't know. If we can tank, if we can get like 3-4 1st-round picks in this draft, trade up for Gavin McKenna. Who knows?
Yes. Is that I think tonight, right? He's announcing his
thought he already did.
he's Penn State, right?
Penn
I believe
State.
it is. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind. That already happened. Yeah, get another prospect to ruin, right?
What would be like his like thing? Like what's the slogan to get him?
McKenna?
Like something with M, or did it go off Gavin? Like god awful for Gavin, or like I don't know.
God awful for Gavin.
Miserable for McKenna. I don't know.
Miserable for misery for McKenna.
We could come up with one, but the Rangers won't be getting him. Let's be honest.
No. And then when they do, his career will be ruined.
Yeah. Who would you say is kind of like an X factor of like this guy could like if he takes a step this year and he plays really well, like he could really elevate his game and the team, I guess.
Probably one of the 3 young guys, Berard, Hoffman.
Yeah.
Like if one of those guys can have a good year and take a step up and show some serious progress, I think that's a big deal.
I was gonna go in a different route. I was gonna say Lafreniere.
I was thinking that too. If Lafreniere can have a bounce back year,
is he gonna play power play this year?
Yeah, that's another question. I could say multiple veterans though.
I mean, they got what's his face off the power
Mika.
play now, Kreider, and then you should probably take Mika off the power play, which you probably won't. But I don't know. I mean, should Trocheck play power play? Maybe not. I don't know. It's a tough situation because they really need to get one of these kids power play time.
Yeah, I think it should be Lafreniere. Next up is probably Lafreniere.
But they could just go the same power play unit and then swap in Trocheck for Kreider.
They could, yeah. Yeah, Lafreniere. I mean, Mika, can he do something better than? I mean, can like he not just be a non-factor?
That's
can Mika just be average this year?
All right. Here's a question. Over under 10 5-on-5 goals this year
for Mika?
Yeah, 9.5.
9.5.
How many did he have last year?
How many? Yeah, that's what I'm looking now.
Maybe at 10. You know what? I'm gonna say it's 6.
Let's see. Last year he had 13.
Okay. All right. So maybe that was a little. Maybe I was underselling him a little.
13, 7 on the power play. Oh my God, 7 on the power play. That's a joke. That's his lowest total since. Jeez.
He had 20 goals one year on the power play.
Yes, 22-23, the Devils' first round exit year. He had more goals on the power play in the COVID shortened season than he did last year. That's terrible.
That's crazy. Jesus Christ, what happened to make his band job?
He was such a Flyers merchant that year.
No, he had 11 goals, 5-5. Because I'm not counting 4-4 because he's like decent 4-4 with more space. 5-5, he had 11.
He had first time since 2017, 2018, he didn't have a shorthanded goal. And the Rangers were kings at shorthanded goal this year. They were better shorthanded than they were on the power play. Yeah, you are right. It's 11.
So what are you thinking? You taking the
9.5? You said
9.5, 5-5 goals.
He was under that last year. Yeah, he'd be over that.
Over.
I mean, he's been over that every year.
24.5 goals by Lafreniere.
24.5 goals. How many did he have last year? 17 under?
Not a lot, yeah.
Yeah, under.
Who is?
I think he'll be at like 22. I don't think he'll be as low as last year, but
will any of the Rangers score 30 goals this year besides Panarin?
Maybe. No, probably not. I mean,
I guess maybe Miller, but
yeah, I was gonna say maybe Miller if anything, but I mean, last year he had 22. He had 13 since joining the Rangers. Yeah, honestly, it could be Miller. I mean, prior to last year, he had 3 straight 30-goal seasons. I mean, that's optimistic to say it would be Miller. Would be at 30. I mean, there's nobody else. It's really just Miller. Maybe Trocheck. I mean, he had 26, I think, last year.
It's actually more than I thought.
Yeah, it is. 26 is actually the second highest he's had in his career.
He had, 30-something the year before? Did he not score 30?
No, he had 25 the year before.
Oh, shit.
He actually had more goals. That's weird. He had more goals last year than he did the year before.
Didn't know that.
Which is interesting because it doesn't seem like that. But everything else dropped off. I mean,
yeah.
He had 77 points last year at just 59. 64 points his first year. And plus minus 2. I mean, he was a plus 16 2 years ago. Last year he was 0. 5 power play goals last year. He had 11 power play goals in 23-24. That's 2 years ago. It's more than I thought.
I don't know.
Trocheck and Miller would be your best bet. Yeah. And maybe if you're banking on a breakout year from Lafreniere, then he would be your 30-goal guy.
No.
But I mean, other than that,
how'd we end up here?
I mean, maybe Mika, but
there's a better chance that we score 30 goals.
30.
Mika.
Yeah. You're probably right about that.
I don't know. I don't see him even getting 25.
Who's a dark horse for 30 goals?
Dark horse 30 goal scorer? I don't know, like
Brett Berard.
I guess Cooley. He'd be the only person that would have a chance.
Yeah.
It's a lot to ask for someone that doesn't play the power play, though.
It is. Yeah, it'd probably be Cooley. All right. Likely 30 goal scorer. Perreault, Othman, Berard.
This year?
Yeah. Be Berard.
I mean, how many goals do they have combined? Like, whatever 6. Berard has, like 2?
No, it's 4. He's got 4, I think.
So 4 goals combined? I don't think any of them are going to get. I think the better pressure.
I don't think is ever going to score a goal.
I think the better. Yeah, the better thing would be 20. Better chance is going to be 20. 30 is impossible. None of them are going to score 30. 20, I'd say.
You know what's tough about the whole 30-goal scores? We
I'll
don't
say
have the
Berard.
Kreider. We don't have the Kreider Tippins anymore.
Yeah.
We could just, Kreider will have 10 Tippins and he'll have 30 goals. Yeah, I'd probably say Berard too.
I don't know that. This is, curious to see. I mean,
I'm
curious to see what
excited.
this team.
I'm excited.
Curious to see what this team
Honestly,
is. Like, I'm just so.
it's
I'm more like I wouldn't say excited for me. It's more just curiosity. See
yeah.
what is this team?
What is this team? What is this coach? We know what the coach is in terms of,
Yeah, what he's
track record
done.
wise, but what is he here? Does he actually change anything? Do we actually see young guys get better under him? Right. I would probably say, yeah, I'm curious, interested, a little excited just because you're always a little excited when there's a new coach, fresh start. I don't know. This team's going to be weird. You really don't really know what to expect. They're either going to be a scrappy team that even if they're not winning a ton of games, you can at least watch and see positives and take away positives,
I don't know.
Like last year's team, the losses were so just boring, dreadful games.
They
If this
never
team
came
is
back.
Yeah, never came back. Like if this team's a scrappy team where the young guys are playing well, you're seeing development, maybe one or two of these veterans have a better year. It's a team you can get behind, but there's also the reality of Othman does nothing. Berard is, okay. Pro doesn't really do much, and then the veterans are the same, and it's your same boring, slow, just sluggish team that night in and night out is just an awful watch. So there's that reality too. So I hope it's not the latter, but not winning a cup. Can they be scrappy and get to the playoffs? Maybe.
They get clapped by the Panthers, or Maple Leafs would probably beat them. Lightning would beat them. I guess the Devils and Hurricanes would probably beat them. I don't know.
Capitals.
Ugh. Jeez. I mean, like I said, I'm pretty curious to see what this team is, but at the same time, it's just like,
hey, maybe it's low expectations is a good thing. I don't know.
It's been a while. Going into a season with very little expectations.
I would say the year after they lost in the first round to the Devils, I didn't have very high expectations when we actually started.
I mean, I still had playoffs though. Like I still.
It was still playoffs, but I didn't think they'd get to the Eastern Conference Finals.
That's true. Yeah,
and win the President's Trophy.
Yeah, I agree.
I did not expect that they'd breeze through the regular season. I did not see that coming. This year, I don't know.
Are we buying? Am I hearing a Bubbs buy-in to the Rangers 25-26 Stanley Cup?
No, not at all. I think there'll be I don't know. There's no way they're in that metro. They're going to be that bad to miss the playoffs.
I guess the Flyers may be a little bit better, but then the Penguins and Islanders will probably be bad.
I don't know. I'm every year for the last couple of years, we've heard the Flyers are going to be improved. And same thing with the Sabres. Those two teams for the last couple of years, every year it's, watch out for the Flyers and the
Senators
Sabres.
And the Canadians were like that for a while, and they finally got through.
They were,
a team kind of has gone past that point is the Red Wings. Every year, they're a young team. They're going to get there. Now they're kind of getting old.
They're an old team that's not getting their coaching change,
Yeah. I mean, they still have some young guys in Raymond and what's his face? Cider, but I mean, Larkin's getting old. They have Patrick Kane who's 40. So I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I think they'll be okay. We'll have the full prediction when the season begins. Do you think they'll make the playoffs?
Probably. We'll probably be rooting for them to be bad.
It'll be a first round exit.
Yeah,
that's what I think. They scream first round exit.
2016, against the Penguins, where I think they lost 5 games.
Yeah,
first round.
I mean, looking back last year, right? They were what? How many points back? They were 6 back of Montreal. Yeah, I mean, like that's the thing. If they stumble into 3 more comeback wins this year and they're just a little bit improved just in general, boom, you have 6
Would
more wins.
Would you say that there's a chance that there's another trade coming in the offseason, or you think they're done?
Like a trade to acquire somebody
Like a big-ish move where
from the
it's like a
Rangers? No,
roster player adding. No, yeah, all
I
right.
don't think so. I think their
I
next
agree. I think they're probably done.
big move would be selling off a Panarin or a Mika, which I don't think happens.
Oh,
So
they got. I mean, I'd really enjoy for them to get like Amika's advantage trade would feed families.
if they trade Mika, we're winning the cup. Cup's back on
100%.
in that scenario, but we'll see. I think we'll be, just like any other Rangers team. There have some moments where you'll, play well. They'll beat, although they didn't do that last year, actually. They didn't even
No,
beat up on the
I mean, I
bad
guess they
teams,
played
but
well for the first like 2 weeks.
yeah. But last year, right, we had that stretch where they beat up on the bad teams, or 2 years. Like this team's been known to be up on the bad teams, right? Last year they couldn't even do that. Where they had those bad losses
They
to the
blew like the
Sabres,
game.
they
Yeah,
lost to the
to the
Ducks.
Yeah, that's
Um,
bad.
there was a couple other clunkers in there as
Really
well. I mean, they
bad.
had the Flyers loss on Black Friday. That was disgusting. Um, there was a couple really bad ones in there. Both losses to the Flyers actually, because then the game where the Sam Rosen's TNT with oh my
That
god,
one
escape. Yeah, that was a bad
atrocious.
one.
They got worked.
Yeah, no, they had a couple really bad losses. So, they'll maybe beat up on the bad teams, start beating up on the bad teams again, and then improve win total wise that way.
I don't
Chicago, remember that loss too at home?
Yeah, that's brutal.
There's a lot of bad ones. So,
I don't know.
any final thoughts?
We'll see what happens. I mean, like I said, open mind. I have my open mind towards the season. Pretty curious to see what kind of a job that Sullivan can do, but for the most part, I kind of think a lot of these guys are going in the wrong direction. And then in the same time, the younger guys, I don't know. Maybe Gavrikov really helps elevate Fox, but we'll see.
Yeah, I agree. Who knows? We'll see. So anyway, that'll do it. Stay tuned. Sure, we'll have another episode here. Maybe another trade. We'll see. But another episode down. Appreciate you all as always for the support. Stay tuned, and we'll talk to you soon.